In rural communities all over the world, families have traditionally kept a domestic pig. The animal's fed throughout the year on household waste and kitchen scraps, and in the winter, the animal's slaughtered, and the family get together to preserve it as hams, bacon, salami, sausages, etc. I've been invited here to Cassino, which is halfway between Rome and Naples, to join Bruno Zoccola and his family as they continue this tradition.
So first of all, we'll take out the flare fat. This all comes out in one foul swoop, okay? So now we're taking out the fillet, which again,
it's up the inside of
inside of the loin.
Yeah.
So we take out the fillet. The fillet is used for the better type, what they call the supersciato, which is more of your upmarket sausage or salami. Mm-hmm. That's the pork fillet, tenderloin. Now they take off the leg. This is where the hip bone is.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
So we'll try and take the leg off. I might have to use a saw.
Just spin that round so we can have a look at that. Look at that fat layer, is incredible. Absolutely gorgeous. I simply can't find that in pork in the UK at the moment, that kind of level of
beautiful
stuff. And it's such good eating, that stuff.
So now we're trimming it for prosciutto ham.
Right.
Okay? We're just trimming off all the surplus fat, any bits and pieces that would not really undergo the curing process.
So you've basically got the maximum red meat surface going up against the salt. By
that's right.
And anything that might protect that, it's got to come off.
You've got to try and give it the classical prosciutto look, which is a nice, long, rounded end. So you've got what they tend to do is remove the rind, so there's a little bit of exposed fat right the way around.
This is starting to look a lot more like the thing that's hanging up over the bar. It's lovely, just lovely.
We want to try and use the natural body weight of the animal to help us cut, because it's quite a large.
It's incredibly heavy.
Yeah, it is.
It's lost the back 3/4, isn't
That's
it?
So.
Right, so his head's hanging over the side.
Yep. What we do, grab hold of it here.
It's opening up space between the vertebrae as well, and
yeah,
lovely, Jill.
And that way we can try and take the head off, if we can. Half a head's better than none.
Half a head's better than none. There's a lot of meat around that jowl cheek. That's the guanciale that we saw.
Guanciale, yeah. The guanciale's here and there.
There's more going up the throat there. Yeah, got it.
It's a lot easier to bone a pig's head out whole.
Yeah.
But we'll try and do the best of a bad job. So the idea.
Surprisingly small brain for such a large animal.
It is, yeah. Pretty like mine.
What will the head be used for?
Again, cutichino.
Yep.
They cut this up, dice it up very, very finely, and they'll put fennel seed with it, pepper, salt, bit of chilli. Use the same process as making sausages. Okay, job done. The brains.
Right.
You can take the brains out. Okay, yeah. That's his mother's favourite.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'm going to just take off what we call is the hand, the long hand, 5 bone hand. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down this one here, la ziga.
And again, the weight of it is hanging over the end there.
Yeah,
and
which all helps. Okay, undo it. So we'll deal with the fore end first, and we'll deal with that in a minute.
This is the guanciale here, which is the throat.
It is,
jowl kind of area.
That is, yeah.
And that's cured almost bacon style, isn't it?
It is, yes, very much so.
And then back up here is you said the capicola?
Capicola, or the English expression, the neck end.
The neck end.
And we'll take the eye and meat out, and that is used for copper.
Right.
Or capicola.
It's rolled a bit like a rolled shoulder joint. Hey, got one here.
Got one there.
That's beautiful. So that's a capicola when it's finished.
That's a capicola when it's finished.
Questo deve stare 2 mesi, così, 3 mesi.
2 or 3 months like that, and then it's ready for eating.
That's beautiful.
It's got a hell of a lot of connective tissue. You've got to bear in mind that most of the work is done at the fore end of the animal. Of
course.
So that's where it's working all the time, pulling itself forward. So people pay a premium for the fillet and the loin. And to be honest with you, it's tasteless, dry. Yeah.
Okay, so which of these should we take first?
This one first.
Let's take that one. Okay.
Okay.
This one.
So what we'll do, we'll take off the lardo, because this is obviously can be used as lardo.
So with this newfound health consideration, is lardo still popular here?
I'm living proof that there's nothing wrong with lardo. We'll take off the lardo, run the knife right the way round, trying to leave as much of the meat on the meat rather than leaving it on the lardo.
Oh, that is absolutely beautiful.
In the north of Italy, they do lardo di colonnado, which is this here. It's loads of salt, there's bay leaf in there, there's some rosemary, peppercorn, and this process takes approximately 15, 16 days. What they do, they put them in sort of a marble tank, and then they'll put all the herbs and spices and salts in there and pack it in there, and that process lasts for about 15 days. And you end up with this wonderful tasting lardo. Yeah, it's very important. It's sealed in these marble tank, and there's weight put upon it, and it's not exposed to air. Right, this is the capicola or neck end. Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll bone this out.
And this is the kind of thing we're really used to seeing as the the classic English
neck end
roast. Yeah. Again, it's an extremely complex bit of meat once you're in there. So many muscles in there.
So what we're doing now is we're taking out the blade bone. Always use a knife as an extension of your finger. So where you feel bone, you cut, and that way you leave less on the bone and more with the joint of meat. So that's the blade bone. Or a table tennis bat for the Flintstones if you want it.
And so this is oh, brilliant. So this is the piece that would then be rolled to make that sausage shape you talked about?
We need to take the eye out, which is the eye here.
Got it. Okay.
So what we need to do is try and find the seam. So this kit's all used for sausage production.
Right.
Okay, and this is what we start to trim back for the capicola.
Oh, I can now start to see through that the classic pattern of a slice of copper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's having a go at me for trimming too much off. Right. There you go. Tutto a posto. Sì, sì, può portare, grazie. Okay, this is the hand, guanciale. Again, they can be taken off, a bit meaty. The Italians, they used to salt them for 24, 48 hours, and they're like the equivalent of spare ribs back home.
See, I'd always imagined it was sort of the cheek, but it's actually far more like the throat, isn't it?
Well, it's the cheek, goes back down the neck of the animal, and that's the guanciale. You've got to be very careful because all this is sort of quite high in sort of bug count, and it could turn very, very quickly.
This is the glandular stuff.
The glandular stuff. So we'll have to try and remove some of that. So that's pretty much your guanciale shape. Okay.
Back with the hand, yeah?
Back with the hand.
Right.
Okay. We'll take the trotter off first. And now we're going to skin it first to make it a little bit easier for them later when they're making the sausages. Oh,
got it.
There you go. Okay. Do you want to do some cutting or shall?
Oh, I'd love to.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So what he wants to do, he wants us to cut this quite wide, right?
Okay.
So what we've got to do is basically, if I just score it quite lightly, we need to cut approximately that line there. Way down, straight line.
A little bit of the edge of the table in there. You have to forgive me for the splinters.
That's it. Okay. Belle strette all'osso. Okay. We need to, when you sheet this out,
Yep.
you need to be as tight to the bone as possible because we need to leave as much meat on the pancetta as possible.
Got it. All right, not anywhere near as elegant as the pros, but God, this thing about holding the knife down tight like a
Pen works, doesn't
pen
it?
works. It really works.
Don't go too deep. Run a line here and go through the cartilage. Let's remove the sheet ribs and then we can sort out the cartilage later. Now you deal with the cartilage, so that way you haven't cut any long lesion.
It turns up as well, doesn't it?
It does.
I can really see how that would work, salted, and can already see across the end of it that pattern that you'd recognise from pancetta. That's just lovely. Look at that, even with the little holes at the end to hang it up. That'll be in the corner of the kitchen. You can lop a lump off and chuck it in your carbonara. It doesn't get any more gorgeous than that.
What you'll have to do is use your boning knife, cut along this line here because this is the eye and we don't want to cut into the eye. You cut along this line here, right the way along, then you turn the loin round, do the same process, put it on its side.
From this side then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you put it on its side and then the two lines that you've made should meet in the middle and you just nick it with a knife and your line should come off. In theory.
In theory.
Yeah. Okay. If you don't, there's a very angry man there. So let's hang it over the edge so we can open it up a bit.
Once again, you're letting the weight do the job.
The work.
There we go.
So what we're going to do is cut one with, hang on, just bear with us for a minute till I get my bearings, one and one without. Okay, I'm going to cut it from this way around.
1, 2, 3, 4. La Madonna, ma che sono grosso.
E tu sei ritorno senza una che...
Ma che sono grosso io.
He said to me, cut one with a bone, one without. I've done that, and those are too big.
Fa la braccia, la vuoi fare la
No, ma tu sei
braccia?
what? Okay. I think they've just called me the son of a goat herder, I think. Oh, well, keep them happy.
It's been a privilege to join Bruno, Massimo and Mario breaking down the pig. I've learned a lot. I thought I knew a fair bit about pork, but there's no substitute for learning on the job, working with experts and really getting your hands on the meat. In our next film, the rest of the family join us to cure the meat, make salami and sausages, and I get to try a truly terrifying blood polenta.